You guys, we need to talk about Taylor Swift because, I mean, everyone is talking about her since she just announced her latest album.
For the Swifties, Taylor Swift has announced her 12th studio album. Swift revealed the new album titled The Life of a Showgirl during a cameo on the New Heights podcast hosted by her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, and his brother, Jason. There are no details on a release date for the album.
And also, there was a lot of I won't say cringe-worthy, but uncomfortable PDA.
Is Taylor Swift about to drop the most brutal friendship track of her career? Fans think track 6, Ruin the Friendship on her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, points to a fallout with Blake Lively. Tonight, we're breaking down the theories, the legal mess that tried to drag Taylor in, the podcast moment that blew up the internet, and whether any of this actually adds up. Let's get into it.
Here at Us Weekly, we get asked a lot of questions about pop culture and celebrity. The question we get asked the most right now is, what's the deal with Blake and Taylor? The previously close pair have been keeping their distance since December. When Blake initiated a lawsuit against her, it ends with Us director Justin Baldoni, who countersued for defamation, dragging Swift into the fray, and now Taylor has been subpoenaed. Now, all parties have denied the allegations.
Taylor just announced her 12th studio album. She unveiled the cover and the track list. 2 titles lit the fuse: Ruin the Friendship at track 6 and Canceled at track 10. No confirmations, no lyric snippets, but as always, the internet doesn't need much more than a title and a timeline. Why does this hit so hard? Because Taylor and Blake have been publicly close for years. Blake directed I Bet You Think About Me. Their daughter's voice opens gorgeous. They've shared moments, credits, and inside jokes that Swifties know by heart. So when the track list arrived, a lot of fans immediately connected dots, whether those dots exist or not. Before we crown track 6 as a confession, here's what Taylor actually said about the record. She called it an offstage album. Not the lights, not the crowd, but what she was going through after the shows during the Eras tour. That's why the cover isn't a stage shot. It's a quiet, in-between moment. And she said every single song belongs. Take one out, and it's not the same album. Now, the timeline twist. Eras wrapped in December. Blake-related controversy had been simmering before that, but the big friendship drama rumors didn't really surge until around March. If the album was mostly locked by the end of tour, and the last Easter eggs were already dropping, then a brand new friendship fallout might not fit neatly inside this track list. Could it still be on there? Sure. Artists write late, they swap tracks, they keep secrets, but the timeline doesn't make it a slam dunk. So why were fans suspicious of a rift at all? Because Blake Lively faced a wave of backlash tied to It Ends With Us promotion. That cooled until December, when headlines erupted over a complaint Blake filed about alleged harassment and a toxic environment on set. Director Justin Baldoni responded with a massive defamation countersuit, naming Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and her publicist. It got ugly, and none of that had anything to do with Taylor until legal teams tried to angle her into the story. Here's how Taylor's name showed up. Baldoni's side issued a subpoena to Taylor. Their theory? That Blake supposedly leaned on her dragons, meaning Taylor and Ryan, to push creative decisions. Taylor's team answered clearly. Her involvement was limited to licensing a song. No casting control, no production role. And then came an even louder claim, circulated through filings and reports, that Blake had allegedly threatened to leak private texts with Taylor unless Taylor publicly supported her. Some reports even suggested Scott Swift wanted to keep Taylor out of the mess and cooperated to end the subpoena. Important note, a judge ruled those allegations inadmissible, the subpoena was dropped, and the lawsuit continues without Taylor at the center. Translation: messy, headline-friendly, and legally, not the point. Right as that noise peaked, Taylor did something she almost never does. She sat down for a full conversation on the New Heights podcast. Millions clicked in within hours. The episode glitched under the traffic. And beyond the album reveal, she delivered a line that fans replayed in slow motion. My name can be in the headline, and it can still be none of my business. Some people heard, subtle shade, a nod to being yanked into headlines that weren't about her. Others heard boundaries and peace. Both readings can be true. So back to the music. Track 6, Ruin the Friendship. Is it about Blake? We don't know. It could be about the slow burn of any relationship under pressure, famous or not. It could be about a completely different era, person, or story we only think we understand. And track 10, Canceled? That could be commentary on the times, or something hyper-specific. Fans being fans, some are even dusting off Carly Kloss theories because Swifties never forget a thread. Here's the part I don't want you to miss. Taylor has been explicit that this album is about how her life felt off stage. Not PR, not headlines, not legal filings. The human blur of coming down from a stadium night and dealing with real-world stuff. That's where her best writing lives. Personal, detailed, and universal enough that we all think it's about our story or our favorite theory.
Will Taylor Swift tour for her new album, The Life of a Showgirl? Now, it's not even been a year since she wrapped up the most attended tour of all time, 51 cities and a total of 149 shows. And if anyone can outdo Taylor, it's Taylor. But maybe she's not quite ready to head back out on the road. Since the album announcement, there have been a lot of residency rumours, which certainly fits in with that showgirl vibe and will allow her to perform and interact with fans without having to live out of a suitcase for another 2 years. And according to rumours, her team have been talking about it for months, specifically eyeing up the Sphere as a venue. Of course, this is all just rumours, but a residency does kind of make sense.
Let's be honest, titles are Rorschach tests. You see what you bring to them. If you believe a friendship cracked, you'll hear it in track 6 before the first chorus. If you think this is a broader reflection on boundaries and fame, you'll find that too. And that's the magic and the chaos of a Taylor rollout. My take, this album sounds like a diary written in the wings of the Eras Tour. Not a call and response to gossip, but a catalog of what the highs and lows actually felt like. If there's a friendship song on here, it won't land because it feeds a hashtag. It'll land because it's true. So what do you think? Is Ruin the Friendship a clue about Blake? A commentary on boundaries? Or a callback to an entirely different chapter? Drop your theory. Tell me if that podcast line was shade or just sanity. I'm reading everything. And if you want a full lyric breakdown the second this album drops, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.
Here at Us Weekly, we get asked a lot of questions about pop culture and celebrity. The question we get asked the most right now is, what's the deal with Blake and Taylor? The previously close pair have been keeping their distance since December, when Blake initiated a lawsuit against her. It Ends With Us director Justin Baldoni, who countersued for defamation, dragging Swift into the fray, and now Taylor has been subpoenaed. Now, all parties have denied the allegations. But now Taylor's boyfriend Travis Kelce appeared to recently unfollow Ryan Reynolds on Instagram, hinting at the growing rift between their partners. So this week we spoke to sources to explore the fractured friendship between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. Now, they once enjoyed double dates and vacations together, but now their conversations are limited and filled with tension. An insider tells us Taylor is very uncomfortable about being pulled into the lawsuit. It's a huge thing now. Her friendship with Blake is strained. Now, a second insider adds that Taylor was shocked to be referred to in work messages sent to Blake's director and to be brought into this. So Swift is eager to distance herself from the drama while focusing on her own well-being. And as both women navigate their tumultuous circumstances, Blake has expressed regret for the stress her legal issues have caused Taylor. They've spoken, and while there's a glimmer of hope for mending their friendship, the ongoing legal battle looms large. Blake remains hopeful that time can heal their wounds, emphasizing the sisterly bond they once shared.